kind of shit, that doesn't really mean anything. When you lose the thing that you truly love, you really lose. You know what I mean? So anyway, this is a short story about moving somebody. Moving's terrible too. Moving's almost as bad as love. But I was moving this lady from the city of Watts to Long Beach, and anyway, this is a short story called "Love is Deadlier Than Being a White Boy in the City of Watts." And it is. It really is. It's way more deadly.
Hardcore.
That is hardcore. Yes.
Okay, so this took place Los Angeles, September 8th, 2011. A place that shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be where it is. It's a stolen city. A city ground into its foundation by years of bloodshed and treachery. A city weaned on the tap veins of the Colorado. A metropolis of deceit and terror and sex. The ghosts of the native warriors whose graves were desecrated and drudged up by the tractors and rakes of the settlers who built this town haunt and torment us today. Their demon souls, angered and unsettled, taunt and chastise us in unseen shadows and corners of our city. The incantations of which cause us to rape and knife and shoot one another. They make us swallow pills and inject poisons into our bloodstream. They make us rob banks and produce porno films. Their ghostly, shrill, vengeful laughter whispers in the high wind that sweeps through the basin around this time of year. 4 a.m., my eyes open to the darkness of my room. I rent a studio apartment in Long Beach. All the ugly reality of my life woke me from my wretched excuse for a night's slumber. It shook me awake with an evil, mocking jolt. I had only mercifully fallen asleep 4 hours earlier. I pray for sleep and dread awakening. However, since there is obviously no God in the sky answering any prayers anywhere for anyone, sleep is sad and terrible and fleeting. And why? A woman. Why else? To call her a woman doesn't really do her justice. To say that I love her is not a strong enough statement to describe my feelings for her. Marina. The music of the mere mention of her name is the song that shudders my foolish heart. I am a fool. Did I forget to mention that? I had to be up in a couple of hours anyway. Mark is a fella I met through my uncle. He's an old ex-convict who grew up in Missouri and came to California with drug-addled dreams and got caught up in the prison system. He was a big, strong farm boy type, about 50, but as fit as a much younger man. He had called me the night prior to see if I wanted to work with him loading some appliances onto a U-Haul truck. You meet me at my place, man, 7 a.m., and we'll get the truck. It's a big one, which is why I thought of calling you. He knows I drove big rigs for many years. You'll be done and back home by 1 o'clock. I'll pay you $65. What the hell, I thought. I was already feeling dreadful. I'm in Dutch with Marina. She has been on the fence about our burgeoning love affair from Jump Street, and her disinterest was starting to rear its ugly head, and it's honestly had me terrified. She hadn't returned a call, text, or email from me in the past 2 days. I figured I might as well torment myself physically to distract from the mental and emotional turmoil. I got up and went out the front door onto my walkway in front of our place. The sky was painfully clear and sharp in the autumn air. You could smell the ocean. I only live a couple of blocks from the shore. The high winds were out and the stars were like the biting teeth of some black cat, pointed and in focus. At 6:30, I put my dog Mona on a leash and walked her down the street into the rising sun. It was so breathtaking. The colors were surreal and blue and orange, and the sun had a warm glare that wasn't too abrasive and mixed nicely with the cold fall wind. I stared eastward and thought of my beloved Marina, her with black raven hair, asleep on her pillow in the faint light of her room, breathing deeply, her beautiful lips parted and her dreams fumbling around in her crazy head. I went to text her. I wanted to tell her that I wanted her to have a restful weekend, and that it was a beautiful morning and it made me think of her. I hesitated. She doesn't want you anymore, you stupid cunt, I thought to myself. She hasn't contacted you because she sees right through you. She knows what a piece of shit you are. She doesn't want to hear from you. Those thoughts were as loud and clear as if one of those angry native demons were screaming them right in my ear. Perhaps one was. Like the fool I am, I texted her anyway. I met Mark and drove him over to the U-Haul on PCH. I jumped out and got the paperwork for the truck from the woman who hired us. She was a black woman in her 50s. I parked my car and climbed into the truck. They walked up to my window and Mark introduced us. "This is Leslie, man. She says her place is off the 105 in Central. Do you know where that is?" said Mark. "Yeah, that's Watts, isn't it?" I said. "Boy, what you know about Watts?" asked Leslie in her sly grin. "There aren't too many parts of this town that I haven't busted my ass in, Leslie," I said with my own sly grin. Which is true. We started up the 710 to the 105 west to the Central Avenue exit near Mexican Plaza and the notorious Imperial Gardens projects. We turned right up Central about half a mile, then left down Leslie Street. Watts, while having many rundown areas, especially along the thoroughfares, has many housing tracts that are actually, at first sight, well manicured, quaint little neighborhoods. It's only upon closer inspection you see the ugliness beneath the surface. Bed sheets instead of curtains covering the windows, broken down jalopies on front lawns, chipping paint, sagging foundations, slanted and warped, overall decay and neglect. "So what are we doing again?" I asked Mark. "We're moving a washer dryer, a fridge, a stove, and a few other things, as far as I know, just back into the driveway." The driveway was narrow, and the truck was the biggest model U-Haul rents out, but for me it was like driving a sports car, having spent many a lonesome night backing semis into more impossible holes in the dark and half asleep all the while. Watts. No sweat, I thought.